Hi, I'm going to show you how I build the report for importing data from MSTT into SPOT on a monthly basis. First, I go into MSTT, as you see here on the screen, and I choose the report section. I choose the timesheet raw data, which is TT07, and I go to the organization under industry, which is digital plant. I double click this and it will choose all of the areas of business under digital plant. Okay. Then I'll go to create a report, and this takes a while to generate, so I'll come back in just a minute. Okay, we're back. So that took several minutes to generate. The next thing I want to do is export this report to Excel. So I select on the option to export to Excel. And that will take a minute to do. Okay, so here we have the report in an Excel sheet. And the first thing I do is just make sure we've got some data in here. And we do. Now, I've got PAC, which I'm personally responsible for, and there are other, what's this, business unit? Anyway, categories, and so you can filter this out if you don't want to see these things. But I've got the report 3,400 items, and it includes everything. But I'm going to filter on PAC. So first thing I do is choose this cell right here, which is A5, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the very last entry and move over to the very last column, which is right here. So this location right here, I'll do a shift and choose all of that, and then I'll choose insert pivot table and take the default. It's going to go to a new worksheet. I press OK, and here's my new pivot table. Now the information I'm interested in is I want to see a filter on this column right here, which will allow me to just look at the PAC items. And then that filter, I selected it, L3, that should go right down here to the filter section. Okay. Now on the rows, I want to see project name, and what I'm doing is looking on a separate screen because I've done this in the past, and I'm just choosing the same exact fields that I have on my previous month. Project ID will go next. The resource contract type, which is right here, goes third. And then I have the resource site, which is right here. So that will go fourth. And I've got the resource name and the CISA code. So resource name, res.name is right here. So that goes under the site, and then I also want the resource CISA, and I'll choose that. So these are going to be on the rows, and as far as the columns go for the values, I want the total cost, and I go from January through, now it's going to be October. So these fields that I'm looking for, whoops, will be total cost, and this is the total cost for January, this is the total cost for February, total cost for March, total cost for April, total cost for the 5th month, which is May. June is the 6th month, July is the 7th, August is the 8th, September is the 9th, and October is the 10th. So now I have all of the costs, but I don't want the count. I want the sum of each of these costs. So I'm going to make that change, and I'll be right back. I guess I might as well show you how to make the first one. So we do a drop down here, and we want to change the value of the field setting. We want sum instead of total, and now that changes to the sum. So that'll give us the total dollar amount in that month. Now I'll put you on pause while I change the rest. Okay, so I've changed all of these fields from total to sum, and everything else looks okay. I'm going to remove the fields for the pivot table so I can see the full screen now. And I like to put the titles that represent the months. So I'll put January here, I'll put February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and the last one is October. I also like to make these colorful so they're easier to see. So I'll fill these in with yellow. And now I'm going to size these so they're smaller. So I select all the columns. I move one. It's going to be probably right about there. And I also like to see grids, so I'm going to choose the grid, all borders. There you go. Now it's starting to look like something recognizable. So here's all the monthly costs. I also would like to filter on just the PAC items. And so now I have just the PAC items. It resized the columns. Okay, so I'll resize them again to meet my needs. And I like to have this format in euros. So I want currency. The symbol I'm looking for is euros. I like it in the back and no decimal places. So now I have the total euros per month of all of these items based on the project names. And I want to get rid of the subtotal for resource cost, and I want to get rid of the subtotal for site. And so let's see, if I open this up, the firmware and hardware maintenance, I've got the a project ID, and I've got this all these people will be permanent, and then I've got the site, which is Keros or Andover, and I really don't care about all of these people individually, so I'll remove the subtotal for the resource, and I'll remove the subtotal for the resource name and the resource code, And now, let's see, I want to collapse down to here. I want to do this for everybody. So now I have the totals here, and I can go to a particular name, and I can see the project name. So this is the department for the totals. Okay, so let's get organized here. I'll pause for just a minute while I organize my sheet. Okay, so I don't want the subtotal for the contract type, so I'll get rid of that. And now I have the project name, the project ID, the spot ID, the permanent versus temporary, and for Keros for this project I have 200,000 euros for the month of January. I don't need all of these, so I will hide these columns. And now I've got August, September, and October. I'm going to make these smaller. I'm going to wrap the row label, the format cells, and the alignment. I want to wrap text. Okay, and now I can expand these out a little bit so that I can see the numbers, and just a little bit more, so that goes in 2 lines. Shrink this up, and that should be good. So now that I've got all of these numbers for each of the projects, and I can identify not only the project name, but I can expand this and see the ID and all the permanent, I'm going to transfer these numbers over to Spot. So I'm going to bring up Spot. I'll pause the video just for a minute. Okay, so now I've opened up Spot. I've run the Spot program. I want to get the planner cost industry view, and I want to open some files. So this is taking just a little longer than I expected. I'll pause until it comes up. Okay, so here's the selection. I want to go to a portfolio filter, and I am interested in specifically Digital Plant PAC. If I select that, first of all, I'll check to see all the projects that are in here, and I can see that in the locked by column, I'm going to run into a little bit of a problem, it appears. Because Ben Grant has some of these locked. Is that true? No. So these are the ones that I'm interested in. They're not locked by anybody. Ben has locked something else. So I'm also interested in only the items I can write. Because if I can't write to it, then I can't update it. So I've got selected the files that I can write to that are in the digital plant, and I'm going to hit OK, and that's going to bring them all up for writing. I'll pause because this takes a while also. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes and the projects have all been loaded up into Spot. I'm going to split my screen into 2 parts now, and let's get this Excel sheet split down as well. Okay, so here's all the projects with August, September, and October costs. And here's the projects in SPOT for the same. 618.50 for MS80 is CA130. So I'm going to come over here, and here's the project right here, 61850, projects 330. I've lost my size again. So I'll reset the size of these so that I can see them all. So for Keros, for October, I have 4,180 euros. And so that's going to be in the labor section. And I can see that in Keros R&D, I have, I want to get this bigger. Okay, so I want to expand this so that I can see the months. So here's the months, January, August, September 2018. So we have no costs in July or August or September. But in October 2018, for Keros R&D, we have, from the other screen, 4,180 euros. So I will select the Keros R&D October 2018 4.1, I already forgot what it was, 4180. So 4.18, because these are entered in 1,000 euros. And when I go to the next field, that automatically updates. I've completed that. I come over here. I personally identify it with a teal color. I don't care about this field, and so I'll unmark that. And my fields got expanded again. You know what, I'm going to hide this guy, and I want to keep September there because I want to validate that September costs were correct in case I come across something that doesn't look right from last month. So there, I've done that. I mark the whole project in a teal color. I reduce that and I go on to the next one. And I would like to keep that, maybe I'll just make that big. Okay, so in September, for activity engineering software maintenance, I'm done with 61850. So I will select File, Save, and I will select File, Close for that particular project. Now I'm on to the next one, which is activity engineering, MMJ001. So MMJ001 matches this guy right here. I'll go to the labor column. I'll find the October 2018. It looks like I have Keros for 83,204 euros. So I come back over here, find the Keros R&D, which is this guy right here. In September 2018, this is 80,883, and in fact the actual cost was 83,204. for October. Oh, I was off by one. So in looking at this, I can see that September had 80,835. In September, 80,835. So that matches. I'll take the 83,204 and overwrite this row because this was the estimated value, and now we have an actual value of 80,083.204, and so that's the value that goes right in there. And now that is updated. I'll check it. Yep, it is. There's no more cost for Keros. I'll mark that as having been complete. I'll mark the project name as having been complete. I'll shrink that down, collapse it, and then I'll come over here and file, save, and file, close for that one project, and that gets that out of the way. I come back down over here, and the next one that I'm interested in is the activity infrastructure, and the PID, the project ID, is SAA020. SAA020 matches this one right here. I go to the labor, and I go to the right time of the year, which is October, so I'm going to be updating this guy right here. I like to make sure that September, Keros R&D, was accurate, and then I'll update October for what the value is. So I come over here, and I can see that the September matches what I have here. The October was an estimate in SPOT. The actual is going to be 22.869. So I type in 22.869, and that updates as soon as I move to the next row or somewhere else on the screen. Since I only have one entry for Keros in this project, I'll come back to the project, I do file, save, I do file, close. That gets rid of that project, sends it back into SPOT. I come over here and mark this as teal, which shows that I have updated it, and then mark this as teal also, and collapse that and continue on to the next one. So if I look really quickly here, oh, here's one. I've got Keros and Andover, so I'll update this one also. MSM00 is the PID, activity firmware is the name of the project. So MSM000 activity firmware, and here they have the same name but the different PID. So that's why it's important to always match the project ID. I'm going to open MSM00. I'm going to go to the labor entry, and I have two values, 262,000, 172,000. In September, I should have these two values. So I'll go to Keros R&D is one that I'm looking for, and the other one will be Andover Design is what we've called that one. So I go to the correct month. I like to see September to validate, and for September I had 3117, but here in September for Andover I had 127, so it doesn't look like I got this updated last time. Let's see what's going on. August was 144.99. I'm going to unhide the August value. So I'll hide January through July. And now I have August, September, and October. And for August, US Andover was 104,174. Andover design in August was $144.99. So that's curious. Why is it not the same? I am not sure. That would take some investigation. Let's look at the labor for Keros R&D, and in August it was 133. Well, let's get to the right year. In August it was 170.04, and right there 170.04. So that matches for August. 183 for September matches, and 101.53. That looks like it's an estimate because we have 101.53 all the way across. So I'm going to update the October value to 262.713. So October becomes 262.713. That's the number I put in there. I'll double check. 262.713. So that appears to be correct for Keros. It's correct for, I matched for September and August for Keros. Andover, that's curious. We'll go down here and we'll hit Andover design, and we see in August it was 144. In July it was 159. So maybe I'll show the July, and July for Andover. I'm looking at this row right here. We have 110.01 for July. And that's Andover design in the right month for July. 159. So these numbers aren't matching for July. That's curious and unfortunate. Not sure what to do. Not sure if somebody updated these manually in Spot, but they don't appear to match what we have in MSTT. I don't know what to do about that. So I'll leave that in your capable hands to resolve that if it needs resolving. I've been told by Shelley not to change historical values. I would be tempted to come and fill in Spot with exactly what these numbers are. If we go back to January for Andover, 85.98. If we look at Spot in January, 56.70, they don't match. And I don't think I've made a mistake anywhere. So they should match. They don't match. Don't know what to do about that. Don't know if somebody else is updating Spot. It looks like they're matching as far as Keros goes. If I look at Keros R&D for January, 244.83. January 209.715. So that's not even matching. February 237.54. February 209.65. So they're not matching. They're not even really close. We could drill down and see each person that contributed to the cost in a debugging effort. Of course, these just have total values. They don't have drill down values. And I don't know what to do about this as I'm explaining this to you. If we look at May for Keros, That's 141,583, 144,93. Close, but it's not exact. So either somebody has come in and changed a value in MSTT historically, which is not supposed to be able to be done, or somebody has manually come in to Spot and changed that value. We'll look for June 233,698, 25913. So that doesn't match either for Carol's. So this is a good example of some of the problems that we run into. Don't know how to resolve them because we're not running the projects, and that's out of our control who jumps in and changes these values in Spot. It'll be nice when eCube starts making these updates to Spot so that they won't have to be done manually, and then it should be an easier process to debug this. But my task is to update the values for October. So October 2018 for activity firmware MSM00 in the labor. I'll come over here and find out what it is in October for Keros. And I see that number is 262,713. So I will update October 18,262.713. And that's the process I go through. I've updated that. Did I get the endover ones for October? 172016. I'll come back over here for October, find the endover entry. Endover design is what we call it. 172.016. 172016. 172016 is in October. I mark this as done. I mark this as done, and I shrink that, and I go on to the next one. So there you go. That's the process that we use. Another clue is that it looks like somebody did an estimate here in September, which could have overwritten what I had put there last month. But once again, I don't know. I don't know where all of these other numbers are coming from, the Shanghai R&D. It looks like they haven't been updated at all. It looks like they're just estimates. But I'm not responsible for Shanghai or any of these other values. I've only been responsible for pulling the cost out of MSTT for Andover and Keros, and sometimes Bangalore if that shows up. So this has been completed for this one. I'll do a file save, and I'll do a file close, and I'm off to the next one. So I'll go ahead and finish this up for this month, and feel free to ask any questions if we still need to have a person-to-person meeting. I'd be glad to do that. Since you're in France and I'm in the States, I have activities in the evening, Monday through Thursday, so the earliest I can get back is 11 p.m. to talk to you, which is, I think, is 7 o'clock a.m. your time. On the other end of the scale, I could start at 7 a.m., but that would push you into 5, I think, which is past your working hours. So here's what I have so far. I hope it was understandable to you, and let me know what we can do to get together.